An ancient family tracing its lineage to the first men of the Reach, House Manderley rose to prominence with their strategic location at Dunstanbury, along the Mander River, able to prosper greatly from trade. For many years, they saw conflict with their traditional enemies in House Peak of Starpike, yet they eventually came to an uneasy peace when they swore fealty to House Gardner, who became rulers of the territory. During the years of Andal migration into Westeros, the Reach avoided war when several generations of wise Gardner kings welcomed the Andals, integrating them into the kingdom through marriages between Firstmen and Andal noble families. Eventually, House Gardner and the rest of the realm even converted from the worship of the old gods to the faith of the Seven. During the years of peace, House Manderley continued to thrive until war once again erupted with House Peak during a crisis of succession prompted by the old and sickly King Garth Gardner X having no male heirs, instead fathering a number of daughters, one of which was married to the Lord of House Manderley, the other to the Lord of House Peak. Without a proper male heir, the lords of both houses began plotting to place their wives on the throne. The conflict drew in many houses of the Reach and left the kingdom largely defenseless, as the king was too weak and senile to stop their fighting or properly manage the defense of the realm. Upon seeing the chaos engulfing the rich and fertile territory, the Kingdom of the Rock and the Kingdom of the Stormlands invaded and annexed lands, while the Dornish raided from the south, even sacking Highgarden and killing the king. The Reach then saw 10 years of anarchy and continued civil war until Sir Osmond Tyrell, High Steward of Highgarden, formed an alliance with a number of houses to defeat both Manderley and Peak armies, at last bringing peace by placing a distant cousin of the dead king on the throne, uniting the realm under King Mern Gardner VI. Again, the Reach saw years of peace, with the Manderleys rebuilding their wealth and power. However, roughly 1,000 years before Aegon's conquest, their success would prove their downfall, with King Perceon Gardner III coming to see them as rivals to his power, ordering that Lord Lorimer Peak drive the Manderleys into exile, granting their lands and castle to House Peak, who had at long last defeated their ancient enemies. With their home taken and lands usurped, the Manderleys faced the possible extinction of their house. Yet they were saved when the Winter Kings of House Stark welcomed them as bannermen in the north, granting them the castle of the Wolf's Den and charging them with the protection of the River Whiteknife. The Manderleys were extremely grateful to the Starks for saving their house and would continue to remain staunch Stark loyalists for many years to come. Using the wealth they brought from the Reach, House Manderley constructed the city of White Harbor and their seat of Newcastle, developing a bustling trade economy that would make them the richest house in the north. And while they came to consider themselves proud Northerners, they continued to maintain many of the traditions from their time in the south, remaining followers of the Faith of the Seven and becoming one of the only territories in the north to promote knighthood. Under the rule of the Starks and later Targaryens, the Manderleys thrived, even having members of their family married and betrothed to these great and powerful houses. They sided with Rhaenyra Targaryen and the Black faction during the Dance of the Dragon civil war, and while Rhaenyra died in the struggle, Sir Torrhen Manderley served her son, who was crowned King Aegon III at the end of the war, becoming one of the 7 regents chosen to rule in the young king's name, and was later made hand of the king. Although House Manderley enjoyed good relations with the Iron Throne, their first loyalty was to House Stark, proving it when they sided with their liege lord Eddard Stark and his allies in House Baratheon, Aeron, and Tully during Robert's rebellion, even fighting at the Battle of the Trident, contributing to the defeat of Targaryen forces and the downfall of their house. They once again proved their loyalty to the Starks when they joined the young wolf Robb Stark as he marched an army south to rescue the Lord of Winterfell, who had been arrested in King's Landing. With the execution of Eddard Stark and the outbreak of the War of the Five Kings, the Manderleys faithfully followed the Northern Army into many battles, seeing their forces led by Sir Willis Manderley, heir to White Harbor, and his younger brother, Sir Wendell. As the war continued, the Lord of House Hornwood and his heir were killed, leaving their territories in the possession of Lady Hornwood, formerly of House Manderley and the cousin of Lord Wyman. And while many northern lords proposed marriage, the choice was taken from her when she was kidnapped by Ramsay Snow, who forcibly married her, then locking her away in a tower where she starved to death. In response, House Manderley seized control of Hornwood lands to prevent the Boltons from taking them. Events began to worsen for the Northern House as the war progressed, with Sir Willis taken prisoner twice and Sir Wendell killed at the Red Wedding. After the Bolton betrayal of the North and alliance with House Frey and Lannister, Lord Wyman Manderly appeared defeated, offering to marry 2 of his granddaughters to the Freys, allowing Lannister ships to dock at White Harbor, and executing Davos Seaworth when he came to ask House Manderly to support King Stannis Baratheon. With so many gestures of friendship and alliance towards House Lannister, Queen Regent Cersei Lannister felt comfortable enough to release Sir Willis Manderly from their cells, allowing him to return to his family at White Harbor. However, in truth, House Manderly had never faltered in their loyalty to the Starks, merely pretending to submit to Lannister and Bolton rule in order to gain their trust and secure the release of Lord Wyman's son and heir. They also faked the death of Davos Seaworth, killing a criminal in his place, and sending the Onion Knight on a secret mission to Skagos, where he was to find Rickon Stark and return him safely to White Harbor. In exchange, the Manderlys offered to support King Stannis in his campaign to rule the Seven Kingdoms. Lord Wyman then led an army to Winterfell, again feigning allegiance to the Boltons, and joining them in their defense of the castle against the approaching army of Stannis Baratheon. Yet the Manderly and Frey troops were unable to put their differences aside, seeing violence erupt between the factions. Roose Bolton, seeing tensions high and seeking to rid the castle of hungry mouths to feed, then sent the army of House Frey as a vanguard against Stannis, while tasking the Manderly army to attack Baratheon forces from the east gate of Winterfell. A special thanks to all those who have contributed to Civilization X. You make these videos possible, and I am eternally grateful for your support. If you would like to help Civilization X and want a say in the future content of this channel, click on the Patreon link in the description box below and pledge any amount you'd like on a monthly basis. Or if you would prefer to make a single donation, you can use the PayPal link, also in the description below. And please be sure to like and subscribe and click on the links to see more.